Welcome back. We've come a long way when it comes to the diagnosis and treatment of MS, but there's a lot about MS that still remains unknown. To talk about what we do know about MS, we have Dr. Nicole Clark, a neurologist who works with hundreds of patients with MS. Dr. Clark, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So what is MS?
MS is a disease of the immune system. So what happens is similar to other immune diseases or autoimmune diseases. The immune system gets confused and starts attacking your body. In the case of MS, it starts attacking the covering of nerves called the myelin. And once that covering is removed, then it can cause damage to the nerves underneath.
So how many people in the United States have MS?
There are lots of different numbers out there, somewhere around 500,000.
Wow.
A lot.
So you're treating patients in the greater Helena community. How many of those patients are there?
I see over 400 MS patients.
Wow, that's a lot.
Sure, it's a lot.
What kind of symptoms are caused by MS?
Well, MS can affect any place in your brain or in the upper part of your spinal cord. So the symptoms are based on wherever your body decides to attack. That means that it can be numbness, weakness, trouble speaking, trouble seeing, or some more subtle things like trouble with balance or slurring speech or even finding the right words.
So in our previous segment, we learned from Heidi Kinner that her symptoms began at 43. Is that pretty typical age?
For Heidi, it's a fairly typical age. Usually we think of the 20s and 30s as being the prime time to be diagnosed. The youngest patient I've diagnosed was 13, and the oldest was in their 80s. So it can happen at any time, and it can be diagnosed at any time, but usually middle of life.
Who seems more at risk for developing MS? I've heard women, more women than men.
There are about 2/3 of MS patients who are women, about 1/3 men. Also, there are some interesting factors that the further north you live and the further north you grow up, the higher the risk of MS. Also, people of Northern European descent tend to develop MS at a higher rate than other racial backgrounds.
What do these statistics say about what causes MS?
We still don't know. We've looked at lots of things. We've evaluated several different viruses that could be could trigger the immune system. We've looked for different other environmental factors, something about living further up north. One theory that is prevalent among MS physicians is that there may be something to do with a low vitamin D level. And we recommend all of our MS patients should be taking some extra vitamin D for that.
Can certain infections or viruses put you more at risk for developing MS?
Well, we don't know. We haven't found any real solid evidence of it. Certainly we've looked at some of the viruses that can live in your body. So things that, like Epstein-Barr virus, the monovirus. Once you have it in your body, it's there forever. So we've looked at this to see if there is a correlation, but we haven't found one yet.
Talk to us about the stages of MS.
Well, the stages, there are lots of different kinds of MS. Certainly not everyone, not everyone's the same, and everyone is a little bit different in the way their MS starts. Sometimes we have just a single incident. It can be just a single weakness, single episode of numbness, called a clinically isolated syndrome. The most common type is called relapsing remitting MS, and that's what about 85% of people have. And that's really where a lot of our treatments are focused on. What happens there is people will have a relapse, which is a new symptom, represents new inflammation in a place in the brain or spinal cord, followed by periods of quiet, that the disease is remitting. There are also some more aggressive forms of MS, and luckily those are less common. Secondary progressive MS happens when someone has this relapsing remitting course and then starts to have more progressive symptoms. And there's also primary progressive MS when it starts aggressive from the very beginning.
So are there things that can be done to slow progression, treatment options?
There are. It's actually a very exciting time for me to be treating my patients with MS because we do have options and we've got some pretty good medications that can slow down these lesions and keep them from happening.
Oh, great information. Great information. So in the 30 seconds that we have left, can you think of one piece of advice you'd give someone who's experiencing what Heidi did? Some numbness.
Go to your doctor. Go to your doctor, get evaluated. Our tests are very good. Sometimes we're not able to find it as quickly as we did with Heidi, but our tests are very good and we can get you on medication and stop it from progressing.
Thank you so much, Dr. Clark.
Thank you, Sarah.
Coming up next, we'll talk about treatment options and the care people with MS can receive. Stay with us. We'll be right back.